Hi everyone, it's Lisa with Ink and Inspirations, and welcome to our premiere video for this week. So on Ink and Inspirations this week, we've been talking about Mother's Day and giving special cards and projects that we can make and just sharing our love and appreciation for mothers in our lives or mother figures in our lives, friends that are mothers, and just in your family. So there is, I'm sure, someone you can think of that you can bless this Mother's Day with this gift I'm going to show you today. So let's get started. So we are going to be making this pretty little gift card folder. And when I say gift card, I mean a gift of cards. So it has a tie closure, pretty decorated front, and then a little box inside where you can slip 4 to 6, maybe 7 or 8, depending on the dimensionals on your cards in this little box and then give it as a gift. Okay, so what's special about this and what makes it really easy to put together is that the decoration for the card front is an actual card that I just cut the front off that I had. Okay, and then I had these cards in my stash. They happened to all be made with the same stamp set and bundle, okay, with the birds, and I can't even think of the name of it now, but it's you don't have to have all of the same style or the same stamp set to gift cards, okay? I just had them and I thought I'm going to gift these to someone and make it a really special gift. So let's get started. All right. So I have the card that I decided to use for the front side of this, and it's going to have these colors in it right here. So let me find my card that I put in a safe place. Okay, so you can see I have Misty Moonlight and some designer paper that matches that. I have a contrasting color that we're going to use to layer behind our designer paper. And we are going to form the little box and then the outside folder first. So let me get that going. And oh, here it is, flipped over. So you can see this is how I chose my colors with the petal pink, Misty Moonlight, some designer paper behind that. And I thought that would be great to use as the decoration for the front of our gift folder. Okay, so let me move these pieces out of the way. And we will look at our largest piece of Misty Moonlight. So this is cut at 6 1/4 by 10 3/4, and we're going to score it at 4 3/4 and 6. So let me get my Simply Scored scoring tool, and we'll just put this paper here. I'll put my little note aside. Goodness. All right, so we've got the 10 3/4 inch side up at the top, and we're going to score at 4 3/4 and 6. Okay, so let's set that aside. And while we have this, let's go ahead and score for the little box that goes on the inside. It's cut at 5 by 8 3/8, and we're going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So let's take that and set that aside. Let me just do a little rearranging there. And so 2 inches on all 4 sides. So 2 inches there, turn it. And just a very simple score to make a little box that we're going to put inside of the folder. Okay, all right, let me make sure that's 5, yes. Okay, we're going to move that out of the way. And then, of course, like always, when we make 3D projects, it's especially important to give your score lines a good burnish so that it goes together neatly. Okay. All right, so now we have this. Let's go ahead and put this little box together. We're going to cut up to the intersecting score line on two opposite sides there. Let me get my paper snips and cut up. And then turn it around and do the same on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to cut off a little slice here at an angle on all of these outer sides to make the box go together a little more neatly. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to need to trim the other side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to turn it over and we're going to put adhesive on these four corners. Then it's going to fold up just like this, okay, on the inside. So I think I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal to make this quick and easy. You can also use liquid glue and give it a chance to dry, okay? All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and do this. And I said I was going to use seal, right? Grabbed the wrong thing. I had my glue out because I do favor using the liquid glue because I have a little leeway in positioning my little tabs. So we're just gonna go for it and get this adhered so that we can put it inside the box. Okay, so now I'm going to bring that up there. And the same on this side. Match those edges with the fold. And then do it again like this. And then on this side. So there's our little box. You can see it's pretty narrow, but it's just the right size for 4 to 6 cards. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to embellish this box just a little bit because it's going to go on the inside right here. Okay. So let me go ahead and get a little strip of accent paper. I chose a Misty Moonlight print and I cut it 1 by 12. Now this is a little bit long for this box, but I like to trim if I'm going to trim afterwards when I bend it around the box like you'll see, and then or just overlap the extra. So I center this front, just eyeball it. Then I take and I just go around the edges and just kind of bend it and score it with my fingers. Okay, and you can see that goes well past the midway point there. So we know we're going to be good. So here I'm going to hold that in place, come around, bend with my fingers, bend with my fingers, and then we can attach it. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive here on the front and then the side and then in the back. You could use liquid glue here. In fact, it's easier if you do that, but I want it to dry quickly. So I'm going to get this back up and I'm going to line up where I did the little scores with my fingers and just kind of press down there on that adhesive on the front and the sides and then the back here. Whoop. Try to line that up with the top edge. If you want to, you can leave a little border, just whatever you'd like. Okay, now I'm going to come on this side, and then this is going to overlap. So I'm going to put a little adhesive here and just bring it on around like that. Okay, so we are going to glue this in a little bit later. But now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start embellishing our little folder. So let's give a good burnish on these score lines as well. Okay, and then I'm going to open this up because this is going to be my front. And to close it, you can see like I did on this one, I just used some ribbon I had in my stash that matched, and it's about 25 inches of ribbon. Okay, so I have this white ribbon, it's woven ribbon, and I'm going to measure out on my grid sheet over here to the right of me. I'm measuring out 25 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a snip at an angle, and there we have that. So now I'm going to wrap this around like this, and I try to get the two ends fairly even. So I'm just adjusting like this. And remember, we're going to have the little box in there, so this won't be at an angle, okay? So you just want to get it pretty close there. It's going to be about up like that. So that looks good. And then to keep that in place, I just eyeball and center that ribbon top to bottom. And I take a little adhesive, put that there to hold it in place, okay? And I don't adhere the back. Okay, I'll leave that open. Okay, this is going to hold it in place, and we're going to have cardstock and designer paper on the front as well as the back. So that's going to secure that ribbon and hold it in place. All right. Okay, let's look and see what we have here. Again, I used the colors that were in this card. That's what just took me to the Misty Moonlight and the Petal Pink. And I'm using the Country Lace, I believe, from the annual catalog. It has like these colors in it here with both the pink and the Misty Moonlight. So I thought that's what we'd use on this card. Let's use that to decorate our front. And so I'm going to take these are two pieces of the designer series paper, cut 4 3/8 by 5 7/8. And then to back that, I have a 4.5 by 6 piece that's just going to have a 1/8 inch border all the way around. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere those. Move that out of the way and get some glue along the edges here to put on our cardstock. So as I've said before, I really like to take my cues from for my color combinations on my projects from the designer paper. So, you know, the experts know that those colors go well together, so I'm going to take their hint and go with it. Okay, so 4.5 by 6 on the cardstock. I needed to shift that a bit. See with that liquid glue? Boy, I was able to shift that because it sure was off center. Okay, let's do this. So let's put this here and get that. So these gifts are going to go to someone. I like to, once I make something, you know, sometimes I have found projects that I've made. I thought, now, why didn't I give this to somebody? So these are for sure going out. Okay, and I'm going to open this up and I'm going to adhere these on the front and back, making sure my ribbon is not twisted. Okay, and let's go ahead and use some liquid glue on that. So I've got my Mother's Day cards sent by this date. This video goes live on May the 1st, I believe, 2025. And so Mother's Day this year is next weekend. So I wanted to be sure and get all of this done ahead of time. And since our daughters are in Missouri, I have some cards and things I sent that way already. Okay, so this is the back. Okay, so another little note, when you're putting your designer paper and you're going to put this front and back to give it that look of continuity, make sure your pattern is going the same way. Okay, All right, let's flip this back around and look how cute this is going to be. All right, so now let's look at our card. Now, again, you can always make your front that goes here, but if you have a card that you love, I suggest that's the best way to start. The cards on the inside that you gift can be anything, okay? But you want the outside of your little gift folder to match. So I'm going to measure this. This should be 5.5. That's a little smaller than that. Oh, there's 5.5. What was I thinking? So I'm going to go to, what am I going to do here? I'm going to cut it at, I'm going to cut a 1/16 of an inch off right here off of the, I'm cutting it at 5 and, let's see, that's a half. I'll tell you in a minute. Let me get it cut and then I'll measure it for you. Okay, let's flip this around. And I think I'm going to cut off another 1/16 of an inch. Is that a 16th? Yeah. So this is going to end up measuring 5 3/8. Nope. Yes. 5 16. You can cut it 5 1/4. Let's do that. I don't want to make these measurements too crazy for you. So 5 1/4, that's going to be good. By, okay, should be 4 1/4. And I'm going to make this be 4, okay? Oop, didn't cut through that. Let me do this here. This is the only thing with using a card is that you've got all of this pretty embellishment stuff here, and it gets in the way of your trimmer. So I'm just going to take this. The little cutting edge can't, the guide can't go all the way down. There we go. Okay, let's try this up now. So I'm cutting it at 4, and that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. So just to be safe, cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. And look, I can center that there. It shows the designer paper around the edge, which is what I love. And then we can go ahead and put this on. Remember, the ribbon is already underneath. Here we go. Center it side to side, top to bottom. And how cute is that? All right. I'm going to hold it there a bit. Now let's go to the inside with our little box. I'm going to try the seam for that. I want to glue that down. And this I'm going to use liquid glue. Okay. So that if I have to adjust it, and you know, this glue is like the granddaddy of glues. I think it is just awesome because it really sticks when it's dry. Okay, I come about 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom and then center it between this score line and the edge. Just eyeball it. Do not measure. Just eyeball it. And see, I can move it around a little bit. You definitely don't want to get it on this fold because you want this to come up and around. And see how pretty that is and how that sits up like a book, right? Very pretty. Okay, so now let's look at what it looks like when we put our cards on the inside. So I happen to have some that are made with the country flowers. So here I've got the envelope, and I'm going to put that inside. Here's another one. Okay. And again, these can be any cards that you have or would like to make to put on the inside. It does not have to match the front. Okay, and then I have this little card here. And then we can fold it up and tie it. And oh, what a pretty little gift. Super easy to make. Probably the most difficult part is if you use a card and cutting that down because of how your trimmer is going to sit over your embellishments and your layered pieces there. So to be safe, you would want to cut it no bigger than 4 by 5 1/4. And I say to be safe like that. When you cut it that size, you know you're going to see the designer paper that you have behind it. Okay. And you know it's not going to be too big for the front. Okay, so if you're making your front, I would start with a 4 by 5 1/4 base and then work up from there. Okay, so there is one, and here is another. I may even put some more cards in there. This could hold a couple of more cards. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this and you will give it a try. It's a great little idea for Mother's Day or any gift, any time of year, but we all send cards and we can all use cards. So gift someone and bless someone with the gift of your cards. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Lisa Brown with Ink and Inspirations, inspiring you to create, share, and make a difference. Take care. Bye bye.